Welcome. Today we're going to share some stories with you. Specifically, some really unsettling accounts we found.
Yeah, these are from people who had some, strange and sometimes genuinely frightening experiences.
Right, just from trying to buy or sell things online, using platforms like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, the usual spots.
And these aren't just hypotheticals. These are like real stories people shared. They really show how unpredictable meeting strangers from the internet can be.
Exactly. So our aim today is just to share these recounts pretty much as they were told. We want to explore the eerie and sometimes really dangerous situations that can pop up when a simple online deal goes sideways.
Sort of shining light on the risks that might be hiding there,
Yeah. Okay, let's dive into the first one.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this first one, it comes from a guy. He was 32, just moved, needed furniture. Pretty standard situation.
Right. He's browsing Craigslist, finds a coffee table, looks good in the pictures, and the price is low. Perfect.
But here's the first odd thing. The seller, who called himself Cole, seemed really rushed, like majorly rushed.
Yeah, he told the buyer he had to pick it up that night, like no other option.
Said he was moving the next day and was just going to toss it if it wasn't gone.
Which is kind of a weird pressure tactic, maybe. But okay.
So the buyer agrees, even though it's already late. Mm-hmm. And the address is like 25 minutes away, unfamiliar part of town.
He gets closer and he starts noticing the neighborhood. Says it was small, not well lit at all. Very few streetlights, most houses totally dark.
He used the word creepy, said it just felt off.
Mm-hmm. He finds the house. It's small, one story, and he sees a guy standing in the open garage.
Okay, but as soon as our guy parks his car, this man in the garage just bolts inside the house. Quickly.
Strange, right? Already a bit weird.
Definitely. So the user knocks on the garage door. No answer. She's feeling pretty uneasy at this point, actually thinking about just leaving.
I would be too.
Right. But then the main front door opens. And it's not the guy he saw in the garage.
No. A different person?
Yeah, a completely different man. This guy introduces himself as Cole and invites him in to see the table.
Okay, so he goes in. And the table, it's fine, exactly like the ad.
But Cole's behavior is strange.
Yeah.
He's making small talk, about moving and stuff.
But every single time, the buyer tries to bring it back to the coffee table, like asking how Cole wants payment or about carrying it out.
Cole just talks right over him.
Yeah.
Completely changes the subject. Every time.
Like he's trying to distract him.
That's exactly what the user felt.
Right.
A deliberate distraction. He's getting uncomfortable now. Really just wants to get the table and go.
Understandable.
So he finally just interrupts Cole, says, "Look, I really need to leave." And that's when Cole suddenly says, "Oh, you know what? Just take it. It's free."
Whoa. Okay, that would set off alarm bells for me. Big time.
For him too. Super suspicious. But honestly, at this point, he just wants out. So he accepts, says, "Thanks. Okay, let's get it."
And this is where it gets really bad.
Yeah. They start carrying the table out through the garage, heading towards the user's car.
And suddenly, a masked man in a hoodie sprints up from the side of the house.
Out of nowhere. He has a knife.
Oh my God.
And he's demanding the user's wallet and phone.
Just like that ambush.
The user just freezes. He said he was scared, obviously, but also confused. Because neither Cole nor the masked guy seemed, they didn't seem very aggressive or intimidating.
Really? How so?
Cole was just standing there kind of blank-faced, didn't move, didn't say anything. And the masked guy, he demanded the stuff again, louder.
Yeah.
But there was something hesitant about him.
Maybe inexperienced or nervous.
That's what the user sensed. Something wasn't quite right with their whole demeanor. So he makes a split-second decision.
Okay.
And I could give him anything. He just turns and bolts, sprints for his car.
Good move. Did he make it?
Yeah, somehow he managed to dive in and slam the lockdown before they could really stop him. He throws the car in reverse, backs out, and just floors it, gets away as fast as possible.
Wow, close call.
Incredibly close. But it's not quite over. He drives a few streets away, adrenaline's still pumping, and then he notices.
What?
There's a cut on his arm. It went right through his shirt sleeve.
No way. The masked guy must have swiped at him.
Must have.
Yeah.
Slashed him as he was running or getting into the car. But in the panic and adrenaline, he didn't even feel it happen.
That's terrifying. Did he call the police?
Yeah, pulled over immediately, called 911, gave him the address, descriptions of both guys.
And the police went there?
They did. They questioned the guy who called himself Cole. And he cracked pretty quickly.
He confessed?
Yep. Admitted his real name was Cole, and the masked guy was his friend. Said they were trying to rob the user. The coffee table was just bait. They never intended to sell it.
Wow. So the user's instincts were spot on.
Totally. And get this, Cole apparently told the police this was their very first time trying anything like this.
That explains the weird nervousness then, the awkwardness.
Exactly. Explains why they seemed hesitant. Thankfully, the user's cut wasn't deep, didn't need stitches or anything.
And the guys, Cole and his friend.
They got charged, but the user mentioned it seemed like nothing too serious, unfortunately.
Well, still.
Looking back, the user was just incredibly glad he ran. He felt like if they'd actually succeeded, it might have, boosted their confidence to try it again on someone else.
Yeah, that makes sense. But maybe this failure scared them off for good.
You hope so. Just a simple Craigslist ad. Almost turned into a serious robbery, maybe worse. Really shows how fast things can escalate, doesn't it?
It really does. And how those little details, like the seller being pushy or acting weird, they can be genuine warning signs.
Absolutely. Okay, so that was the situation that escalated at the seller's home. Let's move to a different story. One where the person actually did take precautions, like meeting in public.
Right, because that's what everyone advises, isn't it? Meet in a busy public place.
Exactly. This user said they used Craigslist a lot, and they were usually careful. Always tried for public meetups, talked on the phone first, the whole deal.
So what happened this time?
They were looking for a bicycle, found one listed pretty cheap, looked okay in the ad, said it worked fine.
Standard stuff. So they arranged the meet.
Yep. Emailed the seller, got a quick reply, talked on the phone briefly, agreed to meet at a gas station, halfway between them, 6:30 in the evening.
Okay. Seems reasonable. Public place, specific time.
The user gets there about 15 minutes early, waits, looking for the blue Chevy truck the seller said they'd be driving. 6:30 comes and goes. 7 o'clock rolls around. Seller's 30 minutes late.
Annoying, but maybe just running late.
Yeah, could be. Then finally the seller calls, but it's abrupt. Just says, hey, on my way, be there in a few minutes, and hangs up. Doesn't even let the user say anything.
A bit rude. And still vague.
Right. So the user waits another 15 minutes. Finally, this truck pulls in.
The blue Chevy?
No. It's a very old, really beat-up truck, not the one described.
Okay. Another flag, maybe.
Maybe. And the seller gets out. Described as average height, but wearing really baggy, dirty clothes. Looked like they hadn't been washed in a while. So he had gross hair, just generally unkempt. Looked maybe 20s, 30s?
Doesn't sound great, but maybe just having a rough time.
Perhaps. But then, the bike.
Ah, right. The actual item.
The seller pulls the bike out of the truck bed. And it's in perfect condition. Like, immaculate. Clearly well taken care of.
Oh, the contrast.
A huge contrast. The user tests it out quickly, pedals seem fine, brakes work. But that difference, the totally run-down seller and truck, and this pristine bike.
Yeah, I see where this is going.
Instant suspicion. The user thought almost immediately, this bike is almost definitely stolen.
Makes sense, especially if it wasn't brand new.
Right. The user noted it looked like a bike to maybe 5 or 6 years old, but there wasn't a single scratch on it. Not even a speck of dirt. Just too perfect for the context.
Okay, so the user's gut is screaming stolen. What do?
They decide to trust that instinct. They try to subtly ask a question like, so how long have you had it?
And the seller's response?
Just a curt few years. Then the user asks, just making conversation, why are you selling it? The seller gets visibly impatient. Rude face, snaps back. What's the matter? It works right.
Okay, yeah. Defensive. Definitely suspicious now.
Totally. So the user makes the call, says, you know what? I don't think I want it after all. I'm a bit concerned about where it came from. Turns open their car door.
Smart move. Get out of there.
Tries to, but the seller moves fast. Slams the car door shut before the user can get in.
Whoa. Okay, this is escalating.
Big time. The seller says, nah, you're buying it. I didn't come out here for nothing.
Oh, man. In a public gas station.
Yeah. The user tried to reason, even pointed out there were other people around. They weren't terrified initially, more just uneasy and wanting to de-escalate.
But the seller wasn't having it.
Not at all. He gets aggressive, shoves the user against their own car, starts yelling, demanding money, actually hits the user during the struggle.
Oh my God. He assaulted them.
Yes. Physically assaulted them. Forced the user to pull out their wallet and just hand over all the cash they had, which was about $100.
Jesus. Robbed right there at the pump.
Exactly. The seller grabs the cash, jumps back in his wreck of a truck, and just peels out of the gas station.
Yeah.
Almost caused an accident tearing out onto the road.
Unbelievable. Did anyone help? the other people around.
This is maybe the part that stuck with the user the most.
Yeah.
They looked around right after
Yeah.
and saw 3 or 4 people standing right there at the pumps by the store. They had clearly watched the whole thing. The shoving, the yelling, the actual robbery.
They do anything. Call 911. Anything.
Nothing. Not a single person stepped in, offered help, or even stayed around to be a witness for the police when they arrived. They just watched.
That's incredibly disheartening. The bystander effect in action.
Completely. Police were called, report filed, but the seller and the truck were never found. User lost the $100.
But the user said the worst part wasn't the money or even getting hit.
No. It was seeing people watch them get attacked and robbed in broad daylight, in public, and do absolutely nothing. They said it made them kind of lose faith in humanity.
I can understand that feeling. Wow, that really shows meeting in public isn't always enough, is it?
Not a guarantee. And you can't rely on strangers intervening. Such a difficult thing to experience just trying to buy a bike.
Yeah, that feeling of vulnerability. It's not just about the criminal, but the environment too.
Okay, let's shift to our third story. This one involves selling something, an old laptop from home, and it takes a really chilling turn.
Selling from home always feels a bit riskier, doesn't it? Inviting a stranger over.
It can, yeah. So this user lists an old laptop on Craigslist, asking $80. About a week goes by and they get an email. Someone's interested.
Okay, standard response.
They exchange a couple of emails, quick back and forth, agree the buyer will come check it out the next day at 5 p.m. at the user's house.
All right, setting up the meet.
Later that night, though, the user realizes something. They never actually got the buyer's name.
Just an email address.
Yeah, and the email address itself was weird, like a gamer tag, you know? Not a real name, not helpful for IDing someone.
Did they think much of it?
Not really at the time. Which they said later they regretted, just kind of brushed it off.
Okay, so next day comes, meeting time is 5 p.m.
The user sends their home address a few hours before 5, waits for a confirmation or an on-my-way message.
Nothing.
4:30 comes, no response. 5 p.m. rolls around, nobody shows up. User waits a bit longer, watching TV, glancing out the window occasionally.
Still nothing.
Nope. By 8 p.m., it's clear the person isn't coming. User just figures, okay, I got stood up. Annoying, but it happens.
Yeah, classic Craigslist flake. Happens all the time.
Right. So user's kind of dozing on the couch around 8 p.m. when they hear a sound at their back door.
Ooh. Okay, what kind of sound?
Sounded like someone trying the handle, jiggling it.
Creepy. What did they do?
Gets up, goes to the back door, checks the peephole, looks out the window, doesn't see anyone, turns on the back porch light, yard's completely empty.
Weird. Maybe just the wind or an animal.
Maybe. But they double check that all the doors are locked, just in case. Feeling a little uneasy now. And just after they do that, they hear a knock.
At the front door this time.
Yeah, a quiet knock at the front door.
Okay, so they go look.
Goes to the front door, looks through the peephole, and there's a man standing on the porch. Late 30s, maybe?
Just standing there.
No, he was pacing back and forth and kind of talking to himself, muttering under his breath. Then he knocks again, still quiet.
This sounds really unsettling.
Extremely. The user, keeping the door shut and locked, calls out, "Who is it?"
And the man.
He stops pacing, stares right at the door, and then says, the user noted he had a bad stutter and his words were really slurred. He says he needed to talk to the homeowner.
Slurred words, stuttering, pacing. Sounds like he might be intoxicated or something else.
That's what the user thought immediately, that he was on something or wasn't right in the head. Just instantly felt wrong.
Yeah, big time alarm bells. Did the user respond again?
No. A wave of unease just washed over them. They decided not to say anything else. Silence.
Good call. What did the man do?
He calls out again, louder this time, insisting he needs to talk. Still pacing erratically on the porch, just acting really off.
So the user is watching this through the peephole?
Yeah, keeping an eye on him, and while doing that, quietly pulls out their phone and dials 911.
Smart. Very smart.
While they're on the phone with the 911 operator, whispering what's happening, the man knocks again. Harder this time.
Oh, God.
And then, suddenly, he just runs off the porch. Disappears from the people view. But he runs toward the side of the house, towards a garage.
Okay, that's not good. What did the user do?
They have security cameras, so they immediately pull up the feed on their phone.
And what did the camera show?
This is where it gets absolutely terrifying. Yeah. The camera shows the man's car parked way up their driveway, like inches from the garage door.
He parked right up against the house.
Yes. And the man himself is standing there with a crowbar.
No, a crowbar. What was he doing?
Trying to wedge the garage door open actively trying to break in. The user said he looked insane, and it just scared the shit out of him.
I can only imagine seeing that on your camera feed while you're inside.
Horrifying. He tries jamming the crowbar in a few times, try to pry the door up, fails, gets back in his car for a second. Looks like he's frantically searching the glove box for something.
Oh God, what else did he have?
We don't know. He gets out again, seems frustrated, hits the garage door hard with the crowbar one last time, then finally gets back in his car and drives away fast.
Wow. Did the police catch him? They had footage for him?
They had clear security footage of the man, his face, his car, the license plate. Gave it all to the police. Never identified, never caught. He just disappeared.
Unbelievable, even with video evidence.
And the user is absolutely convinced 100% that this guy was the person who emailed about the laptop, the buyer who never showed up at 5 p.m.
That makes a chilling kind of sense. He had the address. Maybe he never intended to buy it, just scoped the place out.
That's the terrifying part. The user has no idea what he actually wanted. Was it just the laptop? Was he planning a burglary? Something worse? What would happen if he had gotten inside?
That unanswered question, that's maybe the creepiest part of all. That lingering uncertainty and feeling targeted in your own home.
Exactly. So yeah, 3 very different stories. Attempted robbery during a pickup, assault at a public meet, attempted break-in after a no-show, all stemming from simple online listings.
It's really stark, isn't it? The common thread is just how unpredictable these interactions can be. These platforms are convenient, no doubt about it.
So convenient.
But wow, they can open the door to some genuinely scary situations with complete strangers.
These stories really hammer home, I think, how important it is to listen to your gut, that intuition. When something feels off, even if you can't quite put your finger on why.
Yeah, like the mismatch with the bike seller, or Cole acting weirdly distracting, or the guy at the door just seeming wrong. Those feelings are often valid.
Definitely. And they also show that, the usual safety tips, like meeting in public. They're good advice, but not foolproof.
Right. The bike story proved that. And relying on bystanders to help, well, sadly, you can't always count on that either.
So when you put it all together,
yeah,
what does it really mean for us, for you listening? How do we use these marketplaces? It forces you to think about that trade-off, right?
Exactly. The ease, the accessibility, finding things you need or getting rid of stuff versus these potential risks. Sometimes, apparently, very extreme risks.
Yeah.
How do you weigh that?
It's something to really consider. Think about these accounts we shared. What parts stood out to you? Did anything change how you might approach these kinds of interactions online?
Well, thank you for joining us and listening to these stories today. We really hope sharing them provides some perspective, maybe, on the potential dangers.
Yeah, definitely food for thought. If you found this valuable, please do consider liking this, sharing it, and subscribing to our channel, Horror Docs. That way you won't miss out on future stories we share.
Stay safe out there, everyone. Good night.